And Indiana has done it. Their first ever Commissioner's Cup championship, knocking off the Minnesota Lynx.
A joint effort across the board. Everyone on this roster did their part tonight.
The Indiana Fever weren't supposed to be here, not in the Commissioner's Cup final, not without Caitlin Clark, and definitely not beating the best team in the league on their home floor. But somehow they pulled it off, and then Caitlin broke her silence with a 6-word mic drop that shook the WNBA. Everybody in the league is sick. That quote didn't just echo through the Fever's locker room, it set the internet on fire. Let's be real, the entire league had been counting them out. No Clark, no Bonner, no shot, right? Wrong. The Fever came in as underdogs, doubted by analysts, fans, and even the league's own media machine. But instead of folding, they delivered one of the most satisfying revenge wins in franchise history.
Finds Hall beyond the arc. It's score! Holson with the trifecta.
And that's how you do it.
Over to Cunningham, long range, bottoms!
The wildest part, Caitlin didn't play a single minute. She didn't need to. Her energy, her leadership, and her post-game words said everything. The Fever are a problem, and everyone knows it now. Before tip-off, this didn't look like a team heading into a championship. It looked like a team falling apart at the seams. Caitlin Clark was sidelined again, still nursing a groin injury that had her benched for the 3rd straight game. That alone would shake most squads. But then came the real plot twist. Veteran DeWanna Bonner, who was signed to be the locker room leader, straight up quit on the team, 9 games in, gone. And just like that, Indiana was missing experience, firepower, and their biggest star. To make it worse, Dantas was playing overseas and unavailable. The Fever's depth was shot. The rotation was in shambles. This was supposed to be the kind of game you just survive, get blown out, regroup, and hope for better days. But instead, that chaos set the stage for something special. The adversity didn't break the Fever, it ignited them.
This is Howard setting up McDonald, knocking down the tray. Finds it cutting McDonald, easy deuce.
And everyone watching had no clue what was about to hit them. Let's be honest, this game was supposed to be a formality. Minnesota had home court, the reigning Commissioner's Cup crown, and a 14-4 record that made them the league's most consistent powerhouse. Napheesa Collier wasn't just balling, she was leading the MVP race. Vegas had the Lynx favored by 14 points, 14. That's not an underdog story brewing, that's a mercy rule waiting to happen. The crowd was sold out and buzzing, ready to watch another banner night. Even ESPN had already queued up a Lynx Dominate Fever headline before the first whistle. The basketball world had Indiana penciled in as the night's punching bag. No Clark, no Bonner, no shot. It was supposed to be a highlight reel for the Lynx and a wake-up call for the Fever. Instead, the roles flipped hard. That 14-point line, it became the punchline, and the so-called dominant champs, they got stunned on their home floor. Truth is, the Fever weren't just missing Caitlin Clark on the stat sheet, they were missing her everywhere. Without her floor leadership, the team looked completely off rhythm in the games leading up to the Commissioner's Cup. They had dropped 3 of their last 5, often blowing double-digit leads that should have been easy wins. Ball movement, gone. Energy, flat. Players started freelancing instead of trusting the system. Aliyah Boston, one of the team's best interior threats, was calling for the ball down low and getting ignored. Instead, guards were jacking up contested shots and playing hero ball. There was no flow, no chemistry, and no sign of the team that had built so much momentum earlier in the season. Clark wasn't just the leading scorer, she was the engine, the one making sure everyone got involved. Without her, they looked scattered. If anything, most people thought the Commissioner's Cup would expose just how much they needed her, and that's what made what happened next so shocking. Just when everyone thought the Fever were cooked, something changed, and fast. Head coach Stephanie White didn't sugarcoat anything before the game. Her message was simple: pressure is a privilege, and the Fever took that to heart. From the opening tip, this looked like a different team. Gone was the hesitation, gone was the chaos. Suddenly, the ball was zipping around the court. Players were communicating, and the defensive energy hit another level. They weren't just surviving, they were dictating the pace. Minnesota couldn't find a rhythm, and you could feel the nerves shift in the building. The Lynx expected a wounded opponent, but the Fever walked in like they had nothing to lose and everything to prove. The game plan was clear: attack the paint, swarm on defense, and trust each other. The same squad that had been falling apart just days before was now outworking, out-hustling, and outplaying the top team in the league. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. With Clark on the sidelines, someone had to rise, and the Fever didn't get one hero. They got a whole squad of them. First up, Natasha Howard. She looked possessed out there. 16 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and elite defense that completely rattled Napheesa Collier. She wasn't just filling in, she was dominating. Right behind her, Aaliyah Boston finally got the touches she needed, muscling her way to a massive double-double. The chemistry returned, and Boston showed why she's still one of the best post players in the league. Kelsey Mitchell, ice cold from deep, moving off the ball like a sniper waiting for the moment, and when it came, she didn't miss. And then there was Sophie Cunningham, a spark plug off the bench with 13 loud points and timely threes that swung momentum back their way. Even Ari McDonald, a new signing, came in with 12 huge points like she'd been on the roster all season. This wasn't a one-woman show, it was a total takeover. She didn't log a single minute, but Caitlin Clark still managed to hijack the entire post-game conversation, and she did it with just 6 words. Everybody in the league is sick. That quote, it wasn't just sass, it was a warning. Clark had been glued to the bench for 3 games, visibly frustrated, but never checked out. Throughout the Commissioner's Cup final, she was locked in on the sidelines, coaching up teammates, shouting encouragement, and staying dialed into every possession. And when the Fever pulled off the upset, she didn't hold back. Her sick comment during the locker room celebration wasn't just about the scoreboard, it was about the vibe, the energy, the jealousy. That line lit up social media and hit a nerve around the league. For a rookie, Clark didn't just speak like a vet, she exposed the elephant in the room. Even hurt, even sidelined, she knew exactly what this win meant. The Fever had just flipped the WNBA script, and she made sure everybody felt it. The Fever didn't just survive without Caitlin Clark, they thrived. That win wasn't a fluke, and it wasn't lucky. It was a full-on clinic in resilience, teamwork, and straight-up grit. The media said they couldn't do it. The sports books laughed. Even ESPN had to scramble to change their headline. But Indiana proved something deeper. They're not just Clark's team, they're a team, period. When you've got players like Natasha Howard and Aaliyah Boston locking in, and role players stepping up like it's the finals, you become dangerous, even without your star. And that's the scariest part, because Clark's coming back, healthy, recharged, and now with a squad that just showed it can win big games without her, the league better buckle up. This Commissioner's Cup was more than a trophy. It was a message. The Fever are here now, and they're not going away. So if you've caught the Fever, drop a comment and let us know. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell, because this team's story, it's just getting started.